like what was happening. I told him that it was literally gross negligence. Nobody cared. They weren't coding patients that were, a code blue. They would just let them go. And, then reporting to the families like that they did everything they could when I know that for a fact that they didn't. And when I saw that, that's when I realized like nobody is going to believe this. No one's going to believe that this is happening without proof. And so I contacted a couple New York attorneys, and we decided that I needed to go undercover. So I did.
This patient is in with like a non-COVID. I don't understand why they're doing that.
I know. There's 4 patients in a row here that are non-COVID. And this is supposed to be the COVID.
Yeah.
7th floor, they shut it down.
That's right. I'm confused.
And then they're going to have non-COVIDs there.
Yeah.
This is going to be the only COVID, so they shouldn't put any non-COVIDs here.
Well, that's what they've been doing. The guy over in 29, I had him upstairs because I was on CCU before it.
Yeah.
And he came in with a stroke.
I know, that's what 26-1 was, a stroke.
And no COVID, and now he's got COVID, and he's on a vent.
Well, because we gave it to him here.
My attorney dropped off a pair of spyglasses for me. I got audio recording software for my phone, and I started recording.
My bigger problem with this whole scenario is when they intubate people who don't need it.
Yeah.
And it looks very clear to me that they're just pushing it.
It was like the day before intubation, he was fine on the rebreather.
And then they intubated, and then he got a pneumo, and then they put in a PEP tube, and then it's been shipped.
And now he's 37 years old and dead.
This isn't what my profession stands for. We can't look away. We're mandatory reporters. Like, this is our job, to protect the patient. As nurses, we're patient advocates. Our oath is to do no harm, and like that's all that was being done. There were very few actual ICU doctors running these floors. They had residents in, there was ophthalmologists, dentists, people that had absolutely no clue what they were doing. Maybe, 2 or 3 respiratory therapists for the entire hospital, when we needed respiratory therapists for the ventilators because nobody knew how to run them, which also caused death. So they would blow out these patients' lungs and then call it a day. Next patient in, same thing.
Nearly 2,000 people have tested positive for coronavirus. That's bad, and this is worse. Hospitals there are getting ready tonight for a surge. Meantime, Governor Ned Lamont toured a facility manufacturing ventilators for critical care patients. 34 people have died, and federal officials just approved a disaster declaration for the state, and that will allow all 8 counties to be reimbursed for costs associated with the response to the pandemic.
Patients coming into the emergency room would be given no options, and they would be told, if you're not admitted, you're going to die. Essentially, you need to get admitted. And so they did. Fear is a very, very strong emotion, and when people are unaware of what's going on, obviously they're going to trust us, but nobody was telling the truth.
The Comfort now is just pulling into dock here in Newtown, Manhattan.
They could have went to the Comfort ship, where, if they didn't have COVID, that was meant for them, but it was just bypassed. Governor Cuomo said that they were running out of space and they needed extra hospital beds for the patients that didn't have COVID. And so President Trump at the time sent the ship, and the ship was never utilized because they were ordered to stand down. They admitted everybody to these hospitals. They stuffed them in like sardines because there was financial incentive to do so. It was $13,000 to admit these patients to the hospitals, another $39,000 to put them on a ventilator. And then in some cases, people were worth $10,000 per death, with no liability to any of the hospitals, any of the staff, any of the doctors, any of the nurses.